Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to another Going in Raw news brief. News briefs are back. We're going to start separating the news from the reviews. Just throw it all here on the channel, Larson.
Yeah.
And
more but better. More is better. Whatever.
You know, man, because today we reviewed Raw. That review is up now, and people want to be like, oh, man, let's hear them review Raw. But we don't want to hear them talk about another day of CM Punk drama. So we figured the people who want another day of CM Punk drama, they can come here. Yeah, Lars, you got your hand up.
I could go a day without CM Punk drama, but I guess it's our job to talk about this stuff. So
look, man, this is the thing. We report on the world of wrestling, and this is the world of wrestling, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is. All right, let's just jump right into it. There's a lot to get through. A lot. So, massive update. Fallout and additional details about what happened during Brawl In and what led up to it. So, of course, Brawl In, the backstage skirmish between Jack Perry, CM Punk, right as Sunday's All In pay-per-view was getting started. Let's start here. Fightful Select reports that, quote, people close to Punk say that there hasn't been much communication between he and Tony Khan after the incident. Punk has went as far as telling people he hates this place as a result of the constant issues at AEW. Many people within the company say he's plenty responsible for those issues.
So pause there really quick.
Sure.
Because when I first heard the "I hate this place" line, I was trying to think of what context, because I'm going to play devil's advocate today.
All right.
What context could it be not that big of a deal where a guy says, God, I hate this place? Like, I used to work at the customer service call center, and when we get a lot of calls, man, I hate this place.
I got an example that related to this Phil thing.
Yeah.
When you think you have a ride at the airport, apparently you don't.
I hate this place. I will honestly say, as it pertains to Going in Raw Friendo Club, I've never said, man, I hate this place.
Nor have I.
I like this place. Kind of nice.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Like
anyways.
my job. It's best job. It's a fantastic job. I love it.
Best job. Confirmed.
Anyways.
Continue.
Meanwhile, Sports Illustrated confirmed today, Brian Alvarez's report from Monday, more from Brian later, that Perry and Punk had both been suspended by AEW pending investigation of the incident. Subsequently, Fightful Sean Ross Sapp added, quote, we're told as of now CM Punk has not been informed of a suspension by AEW. However, Nick Hausman took Twitter to clarify about whether Punk had been informed of his suspension, tweeting, quote, from what I gather, AEW has not directly contacted Punk about a suspension, but he was informed about it by his lawyer.
So another pause.
Yes.
Nick Hausman is usually very well relied upon to give us information from CM Punk's camp.
Yes.
Seemingly there is a direct line of communication, I would think, between CM Punk and Nick Hausman, because as of like with like the brawl between him and Perry, Nick Hausman seemed to be in Punk's head because he said the thought was that if I can de-escalate the situation being a trained fighter and I don't have to actually, and that's the kind of thing that can only kind of come from the guy who's thinking it at the time. So Nick Hausman is to be believed when it comes to what is coming from CM Punk.
Well, here's the thing too. I think there's only probably a handful of people in the world who believe that CM Punk is actually a trained fighter. One of them is CM Punk.
Continue.
All right. So there's a lot here to get through from Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live. So Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live stated that he's spoken to about a dozen people since All In and gave a lengthy account based on what he had heard about what happened and what led up to it. And this is kind of a major detail, I thought, because this was first reported, when is this, August 15th, from Fightful about the initial incident between Punk and Perry about a spot involving glass. And this Fightful report seems to be predominantly from Punk's perspective, Punk's side of things. And in this report, it made it sound like Perry was going against the advice of production doctors, Tony Schiavone, basically everybody else in AEW. And Punk was sent to talk to Jack Perry about this spot involving glass on an episode of Collision to try to get him to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
However, Alvarez stated that apparently Perry did get clearance for the spot. Punk went and talked to him anyways and told him not to do it. This is what the transcript has to say. These are from WrestlingNews.ca. All the transcripts here from Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live. Quote, the issue from the Jungle Boy side of things was the belief that I got this okayed. It was clear with the company, and this guy didn't let me do it. He felt he's not letting me do it because I'm friends with the Young Bucks. That was what was in his mind, apparently.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to add to that one.
It's differing perspectives. You got to, what do we say? What do we usually say?
Yeah, everybody has their own agenda. Yeah, everybody has their own agenda. Yeah.
And their own agendas. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle.
I mean, I get it. Like if he thinks he's being, hampered or held back in some way because of his friendships, who am I to say that's not the case? Again, simply for the conversation of playing devil's advocate, if CM Punk, being a veteran of the business, is thinking, why would you do this when you could go a safer route? I know it's been cleared, but I'm going to see if I can talk some reason to this kid because I've got about 20 years more experience than he does in the business. I can understand how Jack Perry would be slighted by that, I guess. But anyways, that's a point of view for you.
Maybe. So then Alvarez also detailed what he heard happen backstage during Brawl In, saying, quote, Jack goes through the curtain. He goes through the glass and they're working on his cuts. This was shortly before the show was supposed to go on air. CM Punk walks by and he says, do you have a problem with me? Jack Perry says something to the effect, well, you heard what I said out there. CM Punk, according to several people, said something to the effect of, I can beat your ass, right? Then there was an incident. It was very quick. Pretty much 100% of the witnesses said Punk made the comment, neither shoved or pie-faced Jungle Boy, grabbed him in the guillotine front headlock, and it was immediately broken up. Samoa Joe was right there. Everybody was right there. Nobody got their ass kicked. There was nothing like that. They got close enough to Tony Khan that I believe monitors were knocked down onto Tony Khan. He was right there, and he saw everything, and a lot of people were right there, and they saw everything. Several people said he threatened to quit. He didn't want to go out for the match. I believe they went to FTR and the Young Bucks, and they were like, can you guys open the show? And the response was, we're not ready to open the show. Then they went to the sixth man with Kenny and Hangman and all those guys, and they were like, can you open the show? And they were like, I guess we can. So they were getting ready to go out. I was told that Joe was furious. He's at Wembley. There's 80,000 people there, and he's about to go out. And apparently he talked Punk into doing the match. Let's take a break here. So this isn't the first time this has happened.
Right.
And this is a series, a pattern of behavior here where AEW has potentially a huge thing happen for the company. Mm-hmm. And yet again, CM Punk and his personal grievances get in the way.
Yeah.
That was All Out. Yeah. He could have went to the scrum at after All Out and said nothing about the Colt Cabana stuff. Even if you want to go out there and say, if anybody tells you that I was responsible for Colt Cabana losing his job at AEW, they are lying to you, and left it at that. Instead, airing of grievances.
Yeah.
In front of Tony Khan. Buried the company he works for.
Yeah.
This is the largest show in the, depending on probably the largest paid attendance in the history of wrestling.
Could be ever. Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
The largest show in AEW history by far.
Yeah.
Which should be a high point for him. He can't just swallow his pride for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Go out and have his match.
Yeah.
And now this is overshadowing the show and potentially irritating and pissing off a bunch of other people in the locker room because he just can't be like, I have to let stuff like this slide.
Yeah. Play devil's advocate.
Here's the thing, and I'm not saying Punk doesn't have things to be upset about. I mean, if he feels like these rumors about, come back to the Colt thing, the rumors about Colt, he's not responsible for that. He feels like they're damaging his perception amongst the wrestling fan base. I get that. If he's upset because there wasn't a ride for him when he showed up in London, I get that. If he's upset because he wants to be locker room leader and he thinks these young kids aren't listening to his advice, I understand that too. You can't be backstage starting fights, though. You can't do it.
Not in this day and age. And I see so many takes on Twitter. Oh, everybody that all you people grew up with when you were teenagers, people that are older, everybody did that. It's 2023, man. This ain't 1998 anymore. You can't really. No. It's not really going to fly. Dude. I got no more devil's advocacy for you. This is crazy. There's AEW has I think 100 wrestlers on their roster.
More than that. They got a lot.
Is it up like 200 or something like that?
It's like 150 something, I think.
It's like a lot.
It's a lot.
And like there's one person this keeps on circling around to, and it's not Malachi Black. It's not Samoa Joe. It's not, I don't know, any number of other people. It's CM Punk. And, you know, Jack Perry's a young guy, grew up in Hollywood with a famous actor dad. And maybe there's a sense of, you know, when somebody has like not a lot to lose, because if you're Jack Perry, chances are you probably got a decent trust fund at the very least. And you got WWE down the road or up the coast that would easily take you, not let alone like any other promotions. Like you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You don't need to be told if you got the okay from some whoever to do something, and then Broheim fucking veteran comes up who already has a history of trying to peacock the whole roster and says, no, you can't do that. I'd be a little salty too. Yeah, especially if I've got that Hollywood actor sense of entitlement that you know he probably has in the first place.
I'm not going to speculate on that, but just on the idea of if what Alvarez says here about the initial incident with the glass on Collision and stuff, if Perry got that approved and Punk, whether someone asked him to talk to him out of it or not, whether he took it upon himself, regardless.
Yeah.
If Perry went through the appropriate channels and got the spot cleared, well, here comes Phil.
Yeah.
Trying to put his stamp on his show.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't be doing that. There's 10 million other ways you can do that. It's more effective.
Yeah.
Nobody asked you, man. Mind your own business.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to Phil being like to CM Punk being like offended that somebody wouldn't approach him and ask him for advice.
Exactly.
Or somebody would be like, you know what? I learn in a different way than asking people for advice. It's not really my thing.
Yeah.
And him taking issue with that. It ain't, you know, again, this isn't 2002. It's 2023, and not everybody's asking for you to be there and dole out your wisdom tree bullshit.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was pretty nuts. So after that, according to Brian Alvarez, the story continues. Apparently Punk got almost got into another skirmish, this time with the Redeemer, Miro. He said this, apparently there was another near incident when CM Punk, and I heard this from multiple people again, when CM Punk came through the curtain, Miro starts coming up and he's like, what happened with Jack Perry? CM Punk is like, oh, so now you got a problem with me now? So they get into an argument, and basically it's like, you want to step outside? Says, I don't know what happened, but I do know they didn't step outside. CM Punk ended up back in the trainer's room. Apparently there was an issue with Miro and CM Punk, and that's why Miro has been all over Twitter the last couple days. The funny thing about Punk is that it sounds like from multiple incidents, the guy, look, I'm not gonna clown the guy's fighting skill. He showed up in the UFC for 2 matches. We saw how those go. However, the guy could kick my ass. I mean, he trains like on a daily or weekly basis with you know, Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys.
No, I kid. I like to kid about him being a fighter.
It's funny because we saw my main issue with the UFC stuff is that this guy talks endlessly about, let people get their opportunities, and then he uses his name value to just step into the UFC.
To jump to the head of the line.
Jump to the head of the line. And I thought that was some hypocritical bullshit right there. But whatever, you have an opportunity. The other flip to that is if you have an opportunity because you built something for yourself, then you go ahead and take that opportunity.
That being said, Miro would destroy him.
I'd like to think so. But beyond that, beyond who would win in a fight, why are you walking around thinking that you can be like, you're the top dude? You already have the contract. You have the contract. That's enough to intimidate people who don't have the contract, backing him down and saying, I can kick your ass. Because guess what? If Ryan Nemeth, if that dude could throw hands, and he did throw hands at Punk when Punk said, hey, you want to fight? Guess who would get in trouble? Regardless of who instigated it. Ryan Nemeth, because he ain't CM Punk with the $1 million contract.
Yep.
Like going around intimidating people saying, I'm going to beat you up when you've got the $3 million contract or whatever it is just fucking lame. It's like,
it is.
It's like, okay, so what happens if you get caught again with a punch? guess what you're probably going to do? You're probably going to try to get that guy fired right there, even though you're the guy instigating it. Because at this point, to be honest, he seems like that kind of guy.
He is. I mean, if Miro, we don't know the context here. If Miro's like, oh, something happened with the Jungle Boy, I'm just looking for answers.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, you started stuff with Jungle Boy. Let's throw hands.
He was looking to redeem.
Maybe.
I don't know. I fucking don't
But if
know.
he's like, something happened, I want answers.
Yeah.
And maybe Jungle Boy at that point had left already. You know, hey, Phil, what happened?
Yeah.
And then Phil instantly takes that as, oh, you want to start some shit with me now? You want to fight? You got a problem? Like, why is he constantly seeming on the verge of wanting to throw down?
Yeah, he misses the feel of being. Go to Gladiators Challenge. Go to one of these.
There's plenty of regional MMA promotions across the country.
Join a boxing.
He does commentary for one.
Yeah.
Go throw hands there, Phil, if you want
to.
Go
throw hands if you want to throw hands. He's just going around like it's bum fights or something. My goodness gracious.
I don't know, but it's crazy, man. It's crazy. So, there's been a lot of talk. Also, Alvarez talked, as far as apparently everybody's concerned, whether it be in Warner Brothers Discovery, AEW, unless they fast track this investigation, seemingly neither Punk or Perry are going to be on the card for All Out. Which, given that it's in Chicago, Punk's from Chicago, that's a major hit to. I know they already sold a lot of tickets, but drawing power in terms of not just remaining tickets outstanding yet to be sold, but also pay-per-view buys. Yeah. If the plan was Punk and Ricky Starks
I know.
for the Real World Championship, potentially in the main event, like not only just All In, Punk couldn't just stay quiet.
I know.
So as not to jeopardize his own match at All In, plus a potential main event at All Out.
Yeah.
Like, just let shit slide, man.
Nah, it's not in his blood. It's not. It's clearly not in his DNA. He is.
Clearly not.
As everybody seems to say. And at this point, it's like, how anybody couldn't understand that the guy clearly just has like a fragile ego. I mean, tell me when I'm telling lies. Like seriously.
Yeah.
The guy calls out people on camera that he knows aren't going to respond.
Yeah.
That's easy.
But when people do it to him, he's the first one to be like, hey, what was all that about?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's made a history of shooting on people.
I know.
Phil has.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when someone does it to him, he takes great offense to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the guy clearly has, I don't know, issues. Probably needs weed or something. Maybe, take a break from straight edge. Weed. Because I know a lot of people consider weed's a drug. Yeah, it's a plant, Yeah. Take a break. Smoke some weed.
Yeah.
And then maybe just
smoke it. Get an edible.
Yeah. Chill the fuck out, maybe.
Just mellow out. Step away from this stuff for a while.
Straight edge, more like on edge.
Yeah, more like on edge. You got that right. This seems like, I know I said this after Brawl Out. This has to be an untenable situation where he's about to throw hands in front of the boss.
No, it's not. It's not an untenable situation. He's going to be back, baby.
He probably will, but I'll throw this your way. You tell me what you think. Someone mentioned this in chat the other day. I think on Sunday, maybe even we were talking about it. No, it was yesterday about the suspension, and we were wondering, length of suspension. Someone just mentioned in chat, I forgot who it was, and apologies, that they were looking over Phil's contract.
Mm-hmm.
He had to sign a bunch of stuff before he came back. That's what the reports were.
Mm-hmm.
And if one of the things in that paperwork was can't get any backstage fights, and if he's a violation of that clause in this new deal, it could just be an automatic situation. We're like, all right, you're gone.
So, the only thing that I'd be really, safe in saying that I'd be positive about would be non-disparagement. Mm-hmm. I would think that, that would be, key. Because, so I don't know. I mean, maybe
I don't know either. It's just speculation.
You could be absolutely right. You could be right. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe he's trying to get himself fired. I don't know. He says he hates it here. Maybe he doesn't like the place. I mean, it's entirely possible that Tony Khan forced him back. Hey, I got you under contract. Do you want to pay back all the money that I've already given you? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what kind of threats were made, if any were made. If it was an amicable thing where they both wanted to return. We had heard that he had the itch to wrestle. I mean, Dax had basically said that on his podcast.
Yeah.
And that was another direct line, seemingly, that Punk had to release info about what he's thinking. But I don't know. I mean, I do not know. I know that if he comes back, I know that if he comes back, the first promo he's going to drop is going to be a Glass reference in it.
Yep.
I know that much. And Jack Perry's going to have no means to respond to that. So
nope. And probably be well within his rights to be upset about it.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. So I don't know. It's pretty crazy, all this stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you make of the travel thing? So like, that's the other thing that sort of came out was the travel coordinator, who evidently is a big fan of the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Nobody sent CM Punk the car service that you would think he would have. And then he tried to contact the office and like it got bounced back or whatever. So he had to take like the train system.
The train. Yeah. And he got lost.
And he got lost.
People on the train had
not difficult to do, by the way. Like I honeymooned there. And then also when I went back in 2019 before COVID, not the easiest. It actually is kind of simple, to be honest with you, but I could see how it could be overwhelming, especially if you think, I'm going to get there. I'm going to, there's going to be a guy with a Phil Brooks sign, or his logo on a sign.
Yeah, exactly. Best in the world. Yeah,
best in the world. And
real
then
world champion, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he gets in a car and he's able to go, but he had to take his, I guess his luggage and find a train.
So amongst the details of the travel issues was that he didn't go with the rest of the roster pretty much. He decided to stay home for a couple extra days and flew out, I think, Friday night and got in Saturday morning. And you'd think CM Punk, one of your top stars, you make it a priority to make sure that his travel was handled.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just a situation where, since he was traveling a different schedule than everybody else, he just kind of got lost in the shuffle.
That could be lost in the shuffle. He's like a $3 million guy.
I know. Accidents happen, man.
How do you lose
mistakes.
Hey, I guarantee you, travel coordinator wouldn't have done that with Brock Lesnar. That guy would have shown up in person.
Probably.
I'll make sure Brock makes his hotel without having to get on a train.
Oh
man. Anyways, so go ahead and let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you like us bringing back these news briefs? You want to see them every day? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we've got CM Punk news. We'll see you around.
Goodbye.